Hello, sports fans, and welcome to a very special NFL Draft edition of Scott Sports 101. The big day has finally arrived. It is draft day, and we are usually I have my really good friend Matt Murphy next to me, but because of the COVID-19 coronavirus situation, we have to do this remotely. So he is on my video chat tonight on my computer tablet, and I have not one but two guests. Another one joining me on the phone on my speakerphone is my buddy Keith Norman, who is a calling guest, and you can also hear him on his own show on Sports Radio AM 850 WKNR. This is going to be a really surprising draft this year, because as you know, they're doing this by phone remotely because of the situation. It was originally supposed to be in Vegas, but they're going to have to do it remotely, and so we're going to really have some surprises. And the Browns have the 10th pick in the draft this year, but the big question is, what are the Browns going to do with the 10th pick, and will they stay with the 10th pick, or will they trade up, or will they trade down? That's the big question. We're going to get to all that in just a sec, and we're going to have trivia questions throughout each segment. But first, I will have the first trivia question for this segment of this NFL Draft Edition. In 1985, the New York Jets, who needed a wide receiver, drafted Al Toon out of Wisconsin. What superstar did they pass up on who was picked at number 16 in that draft in 1985? I'm going to have the answer a little later in this segment. Now, getting back, I mentioned that the Browns have the 10th pick in this year's draft in the first round, and they've got picks in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th rounds, and there's going to be really some surprises. Because Andrew Berry's first NFL draft with the Browns, and of course, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. And there's multiple ways the Browns can really execute a perfect plan in this 2020 NFL draft, but the point is that a good GM must prepare in multiple ways to make a dream scenario happen, and I can agree wholeheartedly with that. Now, Matt, what are your thoughts on this? Do you have the Browns looking at, for number 10, offensive tackle Andrew Thomas of Georgia, or offensive lineman Mekhi Becton out of LSU? Do they go with Andrew Thomas? Do they go with Mekhi Becton? Well, I can sort of agree with you on that, because that's going to go either way, and I really I think really that they could go either way with that, because if they would go with Mekhi Becton, that would free up Jack Conklin to feel comfortable in his right tackle position. Now, Keith, what are your thoughts on that for this first pick in the first round? Do they go with Andrew Thomas? Do they go with Mekhi Becton? What are your thoughts?
Try to find Andrew Thomas at number 10. Then they'll go and execute with plan B, which is speculation has been stating that they may trade down with Denver at number 15 and thereby try to take an edge rusher from LSU. And then they will probably try to come back later in the draft and try to pick up Ezra Cleveland, who's scored very high in the SPARQ scores, according to GM Andrew Berry, which Browns were having a high interest in, not only because of their namesake, because as I mentioned at the aforementioned Spark scores, that if the Browns do not get Andrew Thomas, who I think expect the Browns to probably try to trade with Denver at number 15, and then try to pursue a trade to try to get Trent Williams with Washington.
Well, I can sort of agree with that because that could go either way because they have been looking to get Trent Williams, possibly, and the question is who would they trade for that pick? And that's a big question right there. And as I said, it's already been written that Georgia left tackle, as we mentioned, Andrew Thomas seems like the ideal choice for the Browns at number 10, and the perfect choice. Thomas is he's their guy, and they pick him, and left tackle is settled. But based on what national reporters have been saying about Thomas, the possibility of him going in the first 9 picks seems strong. So let's search for a perfect draft another way. It's what this source, Doug Lemess, is saying of Cleveland.com. And he says, I think Thomas makes it easy, and I think Thomas being gone swings open the door to trade for Washington Redskins Trent Williams, which might involve the Browns' second or third round picks. Matt, what are your thoughts on that? For the if they would trade for Trent Williams, if they would not go with Thomas and try to trade for Trent Williams, because that could affect their second and third round pick. What are your thoughts on that? What goes through your mind? Well, I can agree with you on that because that could go either way, and we're gonna have to see if the Browns do try to trade for Trent Thomas and for Trent Williams. Excuse me. Now, Keith, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you had mentioned something to me before I got Matt on the tablet that the Browns could try to trade for Trent Williams, and you think that the Browns are going to do that? You possibly think the Browns are going to do that? What goes through your mind with that?
Trent Williams is still hanging high in the air as far as speculation is concerned among the Browns fans and inside the Beltway. If the trade is to be made, expect the Browns to trade him and then come back later on in the draft and pick up Ezra Cleveland later on in the draft to make him sort of their guard of the future, because expect Williams to probably get no more than a 3-year ceiling if he remains healthy. They probably would get about 3 years out of him, which would give the Browns time to mold someone like an Ezra Cleveland into a spot once Trent Williams is no longer to be proven to be a playable person. Now, it would be the natural fit if they're not able to get Thomas at the number 10 spot.
Well, I agree with that. If they don't trade for Trent Williams, they probably would get Thomas at the number 10 spot, and I can very much agree with that. And they need to really see what they do with the 10th spot in the pick overall in the draft. But the Browns can only control what they can control. So in this version of a perfect draft, Thomas has been picked already, as Doug Lemess says, and the Redskins won't agree on a Williams price that the Browns can tolerate. So what then? In this scenario, the 3 quarterbacks go in the top 9. Joe Burrow, who I feel is going to go first with Cincinnati. Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert. Now, 3 obvious defensive stars are gone, as Doug Lemess of Cleveland.com says. Chase Young, Jeff Ogada and Isaiah Simmons, and then the two top tackles are gone, and that's Thomas and Tristan Wirfs, and one receiver has been plucked. Now, this is almost a worst-case scenario for the Browns, and that very well could be. Now, there are two top tackles that are gone, and that's neither Ogada or Simmons. And they and that is fell, and so let's make this perfect now. It's going to be he says make it the hard way. Now, I've got something that says first round and number 10 traded to San Francisco along with a 5th round pick in 2021 for a number 13 pick and a scenario and a 2nd round pick in 2021. Excuse me. Now, Matt, what are your thoughts on that? Is what I just read off. I got this off an article last night on the Cleveland Browns thing on Cleveland.com. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't think trading that to San Francisco is going to work. I don't think that is. Well, I can wholeheartedly agree with you on that, because that could be a worst case for the Browns if they would do that, and I just don't know why this would make sense to this source. And Keith, I'm going to get to you in just a sec, but I want to take this time to reveal the answer to this first trivia question. And in 1985, the New York Jets needed a wide receiver. Drafted Al Toon and out of Wisconsin. What superstar did they pass up on? Who was picked at number 16? And if you said the great Jerry Rice, you are correct. The Jets had their moment in Super Bowl III with an upset over the Colts, and they never returned to the big game in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Imagine what their chances would have been if they had drafted the greatest wide receiver instead of Toon. The other 3 receivers also had great careers, which included Super Bowl winners. I'll have another trivia question in the next segment. Stay tuned for that. But we're almost out of time for this first segment. I've only got another about a minute and 50. But Keith, what are your thoughts on this first round thing that I just mentioned, trading to San Francisco along with a 5th round pick and for a 13th round pick and a 2nd round pick in 2021? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as far as the San Francisco at the number 13 pick, I would pay close attention to the New England Patriots. There has been speculation that Belichick, who's been on the prowl and trying to figure out a way to try to move up in the draft, is having talks with San Francisco about jumping up to the number 13 spot.
Well, I can agree with that, and
try to take close attention to San Francisco. I would pay close attention to New England, which may have a possibility of trading with San Francisco at that number 13 spot.
Well, I can wholeheartedly agree with you. I can really agree with you on that, Keith, because that.
The number 10 spot, if they don't make the pick at the number 10 spot, they're forced to trade down to number 15.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. That really does. That really does. And the Bengals are on the clock as we speak, and we're almost. And I'm starting to run out of time for this first segment, and I've only got another 30 seconds left. So this pick it. They're on the clock. I'm going to have to take a break. I got to upload this to my channel, but we're coming back. So a lot more to go. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after I upload this in just a few moments. Stay tuned.